Hello, this is Randy and Tasha Cross, and this is Marriage Loosen the Noose, where the focus is on developing and growing healthy relationships. So, if you all will like, share, and, and subscribe, and then don't forget,
Hit that notification bell.
that would be amazing. So, we're going to start with our hypothetical question, which my husband is really excited about, which means I know he's going to say something that is not appropriate and that's probably going to piss me off. So, let's start it off. If you could get away with doing anything to your spouse and not have a consequence for it, what would you do?
So, for those of you who are not aware of the fact that my wife loves to burp,
Yeah.
um, I would wait until right before the moment to when she's about to let out one of those disgusting things. And then I would just haul back and I would smack the taste out of her mouth. I smacked that burp so far back down in her throat, it might not never ever come back out. And it'll be okay because I would be able to get away with this, so it wouldn't affect our relationship. Everything will still be good. We'll still love each other, and we can go on with our life. So,
Why are you so excited? Why did you get so passionate about that?
because that's a strong desire that I know is just going to be a hypothetical situation. Never nothing that I'm going to actually.
So you really want to do it?
If I could get away with, I was just I will right before it came out. You know how when you know it's like, bah, right back up in there.
All right, well, for me, if I could do anything to my husband and not have a consequence, if I could really get away with it, I would wait until he's standing at the top of the stairs. And then I would kick him right in the middle of his back. I mean, kick him hard and then watch him fly down the steps, face forward. His cheeks would be moving, the lips would
And
be
that's
moving. And no, let me finish. And then when he hits the bottom, because we have drywall at the bottom of our steps, he's just gonna crash straight through that drywall, and all you will see is his feet like hanging out and dangling. I would be super weak over that. And again, you said it's hypothetical. At least I don't. Well, no, I really do want to do it, but not as bad as you want to do it.
now that sounds like revenge for what I just said.
No, that's really what I want to do.
Okay. All
All
right.
right.
Oh well.
So anyway, we are gonna get into our topic right now, which is 50-50. No, not a go, ain't gonna happen in your relationship. So 50-50. Let's talk about that. A lot of people think in relationships that when you come in, you're going to bring 50%, they're going to bring 50%, and that everything across the board is going to be a 50-50 scenario because they think it's going to equate to 100%. They think, and it's wrong. It's a misperception. 50-50 does not exist when it comes to relationships. There are too many circumstances, situations that occur in your life that cause 50-50 to not happen. It's not even that you're purposely trying not to do it. It doesn't happen. It's 50-50.
Yep.
So, what we're going to do is we're going to determine who's going to talk about it from their perspective first. What rock, paper, scissors? Cheetah, cheetah, cheetah. How fast are we going?
As fast as you like.
Rock, paper, scissors. I'm killing them today, all right? I'm killing. I'm killing. What I'm talking about.
She don't want to do thumb wrestling.
No, I ain't doing thumb wrestling.
I'll break her thumb.
You probably would, but you lost. So I'm gonna start with
First.
the 50-50 and why I think it's not realistic. So if you start off in your relationship and you have a mindset, even if y'all agree that it's going to be 50-50, what happens is you set a measure. Whenever you set a measure, you're going to look at that measure on some frequency. So let's say we agreed to 50-50 and I'm looking at the 50-50 meter every week. And I'm like, he ain't do 50% of the grocery shopping this week. And so then I go to him. Look, you ain't do 50% of the grocery shopping this week. You only did 20%, and I did 80%. And we said it was going to be 50-50. So why you ain't carrying your weight? And And what happens is, as you continue to bring those things up in all those different areas, your significant other is going to start get irritated. And then they're going to start looking at that 50-50 meter. And in the areas where you may not be able to carry your 50%, they're going to come to you. Well, you didn't do 50%, you only did 10%. And you didn't do this, you did 30%. And so you all start tit for tatting in a 50 for 50, in this 50-50% setup that you all put together, and it's not beneficial. So you have to understand that it's not really about 50-50. It's about what can I do to help, right? And playing on each other's strengths. You don't want to start a 50-50 scenario. It almost leads to like 50-50 war, and it's just not good for y'all.
Yeah, I agree.
So I would give a scenario where when I had our children, after having a baby, the reality is I really couldn't do much of anything. So that meant that Randy had to do 100% of the cleaning.
Yep.
He had to do 100% of the grocery shopping. He had to do 100% of the cooking. He had to still maintain the lawn, still take care of the cars, still go to work. So you're talking about him being super overloaded. But it wouldn't have been right for him to come to me and be like, why you ain't doing 50% of the cleaning? Why you ain't doing 50% of the grocery shopping? Why you ain't carrying your weight in this area? Why you ain't doing no laundry?
Yeah.
I can't do anything because of the situation or circumstance. And I thank God that he was not pushing for me to quickly do those things considering the situation and the circumstance. So, like I said, it just depends on the situation that you need to ebb and flow, and you need to just work with each other.
Right. And don't try and pin a responsibility on a specific gender because you think it's a gender task.
Mm.
Um, she carried the baby for 9+ months, and so after she gave birth, how would it how would it be for me to sit and say, well, you still gotta help and do your part, even though I know she wasn't physically able and capable in doing so. And I was more than willing to have the time and energy to be able to do that. So, you definitely just don't want to start getting into that area of I'm not doing that because that's not what men do or that's not what women do. I mean, if you can do it and you can help and you're capable, then you do that part. You do what you can to help. So
So, from your perspective, what do you
so
think?
I think you just, so many times we look at situations like how you look at a glass of water that's half full. It's like you either have that perspective of it's half empty or it's half full. But if you go into a relationship and you throw that out the window, you're not evaluating each other by percentages. It's more of I'm doing everything that I can to help us get through this situation, to help us continue to do the things needed to maintain our family and live our life on a day-to-day basis. And you look at it just from a perspective of I'm doing my part, whatever that might be. It might be 100% in this area. It might be 80% in this area. It might be 5% in this area.
Mhm.
But as long as you're doing your part and the both of you, between the both of you, you're getting it accomplished, then that's ultimately the goal. It should never, ever be a 50-50 thing. That's really unrealistic to go in and think that you can just give 50% or half and that's enough. I don't think there's any situation that we've been in where we've only had to give 50%. It's just unrealistic. When it comes to doing yard work, I do 100% of the yard work because she doesn't know how to do anything pertaining to that, or she doesn't want to do it. She doesn't know how to use any of the equipment. She doesn't know how to fill anything up. She doesn't know how to safely use it. So, for me to expect her to go out there and do the type of job that I would go out there and be able to do is just unrealistic. And then, what sense would it make for me to have her go out there and do it if I have to go behind her and do it again anyway? So, you want to try and help each other out in a good way so that we're not just putting a burden on one another that's unnecessary.
Right.
So, for me, it's just making sure that you're doing what you can in whatever area you can to get the job done. I mean, it truly is a team effort. And when you can look at it from a team, and usually you two are the team, then as long as the two of you can work through and talk through what needs to be done and it's getting done, then that's all that matters. I mean, she handles the finances because I'm extremely bad at finances. So it would be irresponsible of me to go in and say, well, I want 50% of managing the finances when I know that that's going to result in us being in debt. I mean, we're going to come up short somewhere. Um, and then I'm going to be looking at her and she looking at me, and all of that could have been avoided had I just understood that she's naturally better at managing finances than I am. So why would I not be okay with allowing her to handle that area? And because of that, because she's leading in that area, she's going to maybe have to put in 80, 90% of the effort to manage that on a month to month basis. So it's just unrealistic to think that anything in a relationship is going to be 50-50.
Right. And what I would say in addition is, although it's not 50-50, and although we have clearly stated that you should play to each other's strengths and what comes natural to each other, it doesn't mean that that person has to do it 100% of the time, because
Right.
there will be times where, let's just say I'm over finances, but I have something else that I need to do and I can't get to finances. I should be able to have my husband help me out in that area for
Right.
that one time or those 2 times out of the year, because sometimes there are unforeseen things that occur. There are things that'll pull you in a different direction. There are different
Right.
responsibilities you may have that require you to shift. And
Yep.
so you should be able to depend on your significant other to assist or to identify a resource to assist versus it being, well, it's on you. You should have figured it out and made it work. And you know what I mean?
Right.
You dropped the ball. No, it's a team effort. So that means that we need to figure out a way to make sure it still happens. Even if I have to get in and do something that I wouldn't normally do, I need to fill in that gap. And so just make sure that you're not abusing that person doing that all the time. And no matter what, saying, no, it's 100% your responsibility.
Right.
So we're going to look through a few areas and help you understand why we chose or selected to have either of us be over it. So we're going to start with lawn care. And I think you've already alluded to this. So I was going to say I'm the person that take care of all the lawn work, but because he said he do it all, I can't really say that right now because it was all exposed. But,
Not the truth.
yeah, not the truth on top of that. But I don't have a green thumb. I don't want a green thumb. I don't even want to dive into it. I don't want to plant no flowers. I don't want no garden. Don't even bring me flowers. I'm not going to take care of them. They're going to die. So I'm just not a person that does gardening, lawn work, all the other stuff. It's not my forte. So I'm just thankful to God that my husband does not mind doing all of that and he takes care of all of that, and we both know 100% of the time it's going to be on him.
Right.
So I'm thankful for that.
And I'm okay with that because there are going to be areas that we have that you're going to take care of more of the responsibility, and the bigger percentage of the burden or responsibility is going to be on you to handle than myself. So what would be the next?
So since you said that, we'll move over into bills. So I take care of the bills. I am very focused when it comes to bills. I don't like bills. And I usually like seeing a bill come in and saying we're a negative 300 or we're a negative 400. So I usually try to pay bills 3 to 4 months in advance. Like I pay way up because you never know when you'll get hit, when something will happen in your life. It's a situation or circumstance that takes you, in a different direction, and you just don't have the same finances that you had before. So my thought process is if I can pay as much up in advance, 3 to 4 months, it gives us a cushion.
Right.
And so that's my preference. And
I wasn't
then,
raised like that. So, the way I was raised, it's like a comedian once said, I put a portion on a bill. There's going to be a small amount, unless there's like the final notice, and I do mean like final, like in red final. Then I am more than content, or used to be. Let me say this: I used to be content with paying the minimum and
mhm,
allowing things to roll over and accumulate.
mhm,
But obviously, with being with her and seeing the way she flows and understanding the benefit that paying in advance has, it really has changed my mindset. And so when it does come a time where she can't handle or manage things, it's not even like we're missing a beat because now I've gotten on board with why and understanding how and why she does what she does and the benefit of it. So even now, even though I was raised with a different mentality, I understand the importance of keeping and maintaining what she's established. So, if it came a time where I had to handle that responsibility, I'm not going to go and just pay $50 on the bill when I know I should be dropping 250 or 300 on it. So,
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. What about cars? I ain't doing jack. So 100%. So cleaning cars inside, outside, not doing it. I only fill up the gas tank if I have to. And I'm thankful that he fills up my gas tank, but that's just not, it's not my forte. It's not.
yeah. So she just enjoys the benefit of having a nice, clean, fueled car. But,
Yes.
I enjoy a lot of other luxuries as well because there are things that I get, and I don't have to put in as much effort as she does to get it accomplished. So, it's definitely it goes both ways. And to sit and try and keep score, you'll lose every time. There's no way that you can accurately track and maintain and manage and try and divide who's doing what at what rate and what percentage. That's not a real relationship. That's not something that you want to try and establish or try to accomplish with one another because it's just unrealistic. So
Exactly. Now, what about cleaning?
cleaning is her.
Yeah. So the cleaning is not 100% me. Let me be clear with that. And when it comes to cleaning, to most people's surprise, he cleans better than I do. But but I usually have more time to do cleaning. So I clean the most. Now there are
Dirty
circumstances
draws and
where
all.
we just throw those straight in the garbage. There are situations where, if I went to clean the bathroom, he had already cleaned it because he had time. So, be considerate of each other. Like,
Absolutely.
even if I take on the bulk of cleaning, if he has room, he has time, he's not busy, he cleans. And so that's nice for me. If I'm going to clean something and then I find out that he cleaned it, it's like, oh, that's so sweet. I'm so happy and I can focus on other things. So when you have the time, do that for your significant other. Don't just be like, well, I got the time, but I ain't gonna do it because she do it, or I got the time and I ain't gonna do it because he typically does it. It's nice for your significant other to see things done that they weren't expecting. It's a nice surprise and it helps in the relationship.
Absolutely. And just real quick, sometimes you might have to sacrifice and add that in to everything that you might have to still do
Yep.
that week. It's been times where I've had to do everything that's been put on my plate. In addition to the grass grew quickly this week, so now I got to cut the yard
Hmm.
and I'm still going to wash the cars. And guess what? You had a long week at work and you're tired, you're fatigued. So not just mentally, but physically. And so I might help out with the laundry in addition to cleaning up around the house. So, you don't don't just try to limit. Sometimes we're just going to have to sacrifice for one another to get things done. And that's okay too. And again, don't try and keep tabs on how many times you sacrificed versus your spouse sacrificing, and then you got the upper hand because you got more sacrifices you can count than your spouse. It
It's
doesn't
not
work
worth
that
it.
way.
And
So
it's not worth it. It just doesn't lead to healthiness in your
it really
relationship
does
either.
not.
Because I don't ever want to hear from him, I did this many times and you did that many times and you need to step up your game. Like, that's not a healthy relationship. That's
Right.
more like destroying your relationship, right? Putting a wedge between you all, and you don't want that. It's enough
Right.
that you have to deal with. You don't want to add this as another layer.
Absolutely.
So that's the gist of our take on 50-50. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Guess something else you want to say?
Peace.
Peace. Don't do it.
Loosen the noose.
Yeah. Like, share, subscribe. Don't do it.